This is fucking Nocturnal Andra Cool.
What's up, guys?
We are in Nocturnal's living room on the wheels. Yeah, this is my living room on wheels. Let me show you a little bit. It's messy here, but you know we're family here, so yeah.
We aired all the dirty laundry.
No, these are just some stuff. Yeah, that's the back seats, and this is here the front of the room, the living room on wheels. And we're talking about this. I was telling you, let's forget about the fucking camera. I was telling you about. What I was telling you about?
We talked about a little bit of things. We talked about.
Before I tell you, we need to put some music.
Yeah. We talked about seemingly demonic entities, which.
Yeah. This is the thing. This is what happened. Okay. All this before I. This is the thing. Before I got into the Satanic Bible, I was basically into a lot of like metaphysical Hinduism, you know, a lot of philosophy, occultism.
Things not necessarily left hand considered.
Considered left hand. They're not considered left hand, but there's all this occult stuff that is, you know, based on that. And then came into what is like Labayan, and basically just like he just like crushes all that, like just throws out the fucking window, like this shit's worthless. Why so fucking done?
Or so we thought.
Exactly.
Because his grandson Stanton LaVey is actually someone I've talked to you a couple times. I've actually done a couple pieces of art for Stanton. Really? Yeah, he doesn't use it or anything like that. It was a couple pieces I was inspired to do, and I kind of sent it to him. And we talked a little bit, you know, but we don't talk very much or anything like that. But he's seemingly a nice guy. But back to what we were talking about, the LaVeyan Satanism, compared to what is out there already, you know, it's very atheistic, you know, about worshiping the self and, you know, that the source of power and eternal life was through the ego.
Eternal life through the ego. Yes, I like that part. Eternal life through the ego means I was coming back to this plane of existence because ego likes to enjoy the pleasures of the flesh, everything that the flesh, because that's what the ego feeds from. Yes, it feeds on all the fleshly pleasures that we can give it to it. You know, it's like, yes.
Yeah, they say drugs, sex, and rock and roll.
Loose women. So yeah, it makes sense to, yes. But you know, ego comes into this. It's in a spiritual way, ego. You know what I mean? It's like I just kind of like didn't see as much as ego being something a part of the spiritual path. Where before I was like, I don't know, like it's the psychology ego kind of thing. You know what I mean?
See,
that's you know what I mean?
Yes, I get it. Like, see, the ego is like it's seen as a bad thing when it comes to the metaphysics and the occult and stuff. And essentially what I think LaVey was trying to go with essentially was getting something that was considered, you know, bad, taboo, not very empowering, and making it empowering.
Well, yeah, the illusion.
Yes.
Maya.
Yeah. But come to like going back to saying that I'm talking about Stanton LaVey, his grandson. He has said things to the effect that his grandfather actually did believe that Satan was a real entity, you know, which kind of blew my mind, because I've been an occultist since my teenage years, and I started off with LaVeyan Satanism. I didn't start off with any kind of witchcraft or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I dived right into Satanism, and that was actually by chance through a friend. You know, he showed me a passage in a book, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then he comes to show me it's a Satanic Bible, and I was hooked. I was hooked on it. It was like the dark side of metaphysics, which I was already aware of metaphysics, but seeing how that there's this dark side was very alluring, and you know, I ate that shit up. I ate it up, hook, line, and sinker, and mostly for a large part, my views have evolved, but they still, like, if I had to put myself in that, you know, left hand, right hand kind of thing, I would definitely still say it would be left hand, and that's how I was exposed to the left hand, through Satanism at first. Obviously, like I said, it evolved since then, but yeah, that was an interesting little fact that Stanton LaVey has written out, that his grandfather actually believed that these entities exist, and stuff like that, you know.
Well, they do exist as well. You know, they say that, I don't know, somebody told me this a long time ago. I don't know where I heard this thing that when it talks about God and Satan and stuff like that. Which, you know, like, after LaVey, I got so into LaVey myself, like, after all the stuff that I did before, when I got into LaVey, because it was just like crushing everything, kind of like destroying every fear I ever had, you know what I mean? All the taboos that, of course, were taboo to me, of course, like once we talk and stuff like that. That's kind of like breaking all those things, and it was like a destruction process. It was like a Kali, basically, like working with Kali, you know, basically, where it kills all the illusion, you know, because. But then at the same time, well, that's you know, it's kind of comes to Kali, it's just like then that's you know, it's just other level, you know.
Yeah. Well, a very important process in life is the concept of destruction.
Yeah.
But the thing is that to the mundane eye, that's all they see is the destruction part, which in any way, shape, or form it can be taken, it will. And the thing is that sometimes in and of itself, we can't see the bigger picture.
Yeah, because it is like reality. Like somebody said, the elephant and the three blind men. You know that, right?
I've never heard that one.
The elephant and the three blind men, the king. Basically, there's this king. He brings three blind men and a fucking elephant. So he says to the fucking blind man, he tells him, please, what is this in front of you? One goes and goes to the elephant and touches his belly. This is a wall, he says. Then the other blind man, he goes and he grabs his tail and is like, it's a snake! Then the other blind man goes and plays with his trunk, with his mouth. What's it called?
The trunk.
The trunk. And he grabs it and he says, it's a tree. That's how reality is, you know.
Yeah.
Reality is the elephant. And what we're doing,
Trying to figure out what the
we're
fuck
trying to
it
figure
is.
out what it is. When what we're experiencing is just part of reality, not the whole reality.
Exactly, and a big part of going back to the subject of destruction is, destruction isn't the end of all things.
No,
It's the beginning. Yes, it's like the beginning of the beginning. And sometimes in some various ways. Sometimes something that would never bother your life ever, and there'll be things that will fucking devastate your life. But that's going into a little bit different direction as far as, because we're talking about destruction in a different kind of context.
Yeah, because it came to the destruction of everything that I believe, or everything, because everything to me, it was just theory, basically. All this spiritual thing, it was kind of theory to me, because I knew all these things I was telling you. And, well, it was theory, but before going to that theory, I had this thing happening, which is called, people call it epiphany, or something like that. But I kind of got to explain that it was also kind of like a near-death experience, where you're so fucking scared the hell out that you're fucking gonna die right there. Just like it's just so intense that it's just like you feel like you start feeling so many things.
Mm-hmm.
You start feeling that you're just there, like about to just fucking die.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they say your ego runs away because it's so afraid.
Yeah.
Because now it's basically our egos tend to get us in trouble, and then when we're in trouble, they tend to
Dips
just
right the fuck
exactly it does. You can see it. There's nowhere to be gone. Then you just.
It just comes in like, hey bitches,
Exactly.
and then the shit gets stirred and be like, bye bitches.
Exactly. So that's what it was. Okay. So my ego was gone. It's like, dude, it was just like, dude, there was nowhere to be found. I was like there. And at that moment when my ego was gone, I had that split second of clarity, which I realized that, yeah, this is fucking big.
Mm-hmm.
It is fucking big, and it's real.
Very.
You know what I mean? I was like, fuck, all this spiritual thing is fucking insane. I realized, and I was there for like a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, and then boom, my ego came back. And story from there. Just, of course, there's this what is called the spiritual ego or mystical ego. It's just another mask, another feature of ego, basically, where now it's this ego that is consciously awake of the spiritual world. It's now it is awake that is their spiritual world, but still ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not doing anything for it. It's just self-satisfied. Okay, yeah, and that's when a lot of us, we say, yeah, I'm awake. Yeah, I mean, we were awake for a split second of time, and then we went back to sleep. But having that memory of awakening, we think that we're awake since then. One thing is like we're aware of what's reality.
Yeah.
Yes, we're aware that yes, this is big, but then we're not doing anything to live in it. We just think that because we know about it, we're awake.
Yeah.
When awakening is the permanent state of that state of being. You know what I mean? You can just it's continuous. That's being awake. And that's what a lot of us are missing, you know what I mean? That's what I found out. I just like, yes, I think, I know, no, I'm not awake. I think I'm awake. I've been, all this time I've been just realizing that I just realized I'm still not awake. I'm just had an awakening, but that doesn't mean that I'm awake, because I'm not living it as now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, like I kind of see awakening as a continuing process. You got to keep,
Exactly.
because it's like going to a different level. Okay, yeah, you woken up. I don't know if I would exactly say that you go back to sleep. I just think that you have to go to the next part of awakening. You know.
When you're aware, you understand, instead of awareness, you are awareness of what is awakening, but
Yes.
you are not awake anymore. But then that's the thing about being aware of awakening doesn't mean you are awake.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you go back to sleep is the wrong thing, but I'm saying that is just because you know about awakening, just because there is that, doesn't mean you're awake. Awareness is not awakening. And
Yeah, it's a
a lot
continuing
of us,
process.
exactly, most of us are in that awareness once we're in the spiritual path, where awareness. I mean, but awakening, it is intense.
In a lot of ways, human existence is like the existence of Cthulhu, dead but dreaming. You know,
Exactly.
we are all our inner Cthulhu. You know, like I wouldn't say dead, but it explains a lot. It's very parallel to the point I was trying to make. Is like you know, to keep on the process of awakening.
Exactly. It is a constant. It's action. It is an action. It's a move. It is. So it is. And that's where I came back from all that destruction that LaBelle inspired me to. Inspired to a lot of us, LaBelle,
Yeah.
when it comes to what is the whole peeling off the veil, and then it's like, but then there's the spiritual stuff. The first time that I had that, I thought I was crazy, so I never told anybody about it. About that awakening moment that I had.
That's how it begins. It's something that you kind of like never really say because
I thought, yeah. So I just got back into trying to have a normal life, just doing, and enjoying life. And then with LaBelle, that just like basically, yeah. I mean, it's rejoice in the life, rejoice on the flesh, and I'm God. Yes, I am God. But then this is the thing. God, the God that I am, is being imprisoned by my ego. And the God that I am has been subjugated by my ego, so it's basically controlling me when it comes to satisfy its needs, the needs of my ego.
yeah.
Now,
And that's what makes the left-hand path such like a useful path in something like this.
it did help me to know myself in every.
It's paramount.
Exactly. It did made me see myself, and made me know my dark side, which exactly it's now, of course. Yes.
Like the hardest part about metaphysics is to look at yourself without the mask.
But that's what it did. That's what LaBelle did. That just takes the mask off, and then you just really see who you are. But then Like,
I think he helped with the starting of it. Like along the way, you know, you had other groups and other
it's
people.
part of the path.
Exactly. You know, the start, but it takes more people beyond yourself to make it evolve. You know, and I think I think that's a big thing with Crowley too. Like, given whatever.
But then Crowley,
belief-
you know, Crowley came. It came from stuff that from collections from ancient stuff. You know what I mean? Just like going back into what it is Egyptian stuff, going to what it is. What happened because back there's knowledge on Egypt. There's knowledge in India. There's knowledge in these 5 places in the world, like the Mayans, the Incans. There's in Brazil. There's like, but there's main, like I think 5 main points, like Machu Picchu, all this, like the Mayans, and there's 5 main points that are very correlated in many things. Although they were very far apart from each other, they have something in common. They were in different periods of time. They were in different.
But they still had like similarities.
Exactly, just like the Babylonians.
That's something that's in the human consciousness.
It's been there forever, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of those teachings are just. I see, you know, they go to Egypt and then there's all. That's what I was saying, like all these mysticals, like Crowley, and they grab from there. Basically, all these teachings are from ancient stuff. You know that.
Yeah, like stuff that's been thousands of years.
So exactly thousands. Much more time because this is just insane.
Yeah.
It's thousands and hundreds of thousands.
And that also, like, you know, seeing things like this, you know, over time, it's actually made me believe that humans have probably been around a lot longer than what is recorded.
Oh yeah! Oh hell!
I mean, like a long time.
That's what I'm saying. That's like other civilizations that are not recorded in history. That there is, you know, that is this story of these civilizations is in what is called the Akashan records.
Yes.
Once you have access to the Akashan records, that's where you learn about the civilizations, because and it's there. The story, our story, it's there in the Akashan records, and to have access to that, I mean, it's, you know, it's, I mean, there are ways to have access to those, you know. There are ways, and people get to there, and that's where they come with this, you know, what was Lemuria and
and Atlantis, and
exactly Atlantis, and yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to what is Lemuria. Sorry, the video cut, so we'll have to redo it again.
we got part 2.
It's part 2. It was just too much memory. So we're gonna wrap it up. I don't think how much memory left. How, like, I don't know. But anyway, I was saying about Lemuria having a lot of this, a lot of the knowledge that has been brought from these ancient cultures and civilizations. A lot of the occult or spirituality of these places have been. It's like when they came in contact with other people, they got twisted a little bit, or just used to. Nobody gives credit to this culture. Nobody say, oh yeah, this was out of this. No, people just come, oh look, this is what I know. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just get stuff from these places, and they don't give the credit to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like a few occultists, but then there is, you know, there's there is a lot of things that have been distorted too, you know, especially when it comes to history and stuff like that. Some of the people, the church, the witch burnings that happened, people that were passing on this knowledge, and they were burned as witches, and they were making up this fake history about him, just like, for example, Countess Battery. This was a lady that was very rich, okay? She has so much power.
But she was also very vain.
Most women are vain. But what happened is, was it in those times, or was it the church had the power?
I mean, the church had a lot of power. Well, the church still has a lot of power.
They wanted to take his land, they wanted to take her money. So they created this spooky stuff about her, you know what I mean? That she's a vampire, that she eats children and stuff like that. Like, create this fear. Like now, we have this coronavirus going on, like, but oh, people are gonna die and all this shit, just scaring people out. So they can do whatever the fuck they want to do with the people, because we've been going through what is a revolution in consciousness, and people are waking up. They're saying, we're tired of this shit, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, coronavirus. Nobody can gather, nobody can protest. This is a very, you know, so the same thing. That's why it's very political. The same thing happened to Battery. This is a rich woman that has so much money, but it's a woman. You know, we want to have her shit. So she is this. People start making up all these fucking crazy stories about, and became like a, yeah, this woman existed, but there's no this. The same thing happened to what it was occultism in the past. They say, oh, these people that are having this, I'm talking about astral projections and about all this telepathy, all this psychic stuff. These people are evil. They worship the devil. So they created a devil. They created these people go and have orgies and have all these things. Dude, that fucking shit is fucking lies. These people are having some. That's the thing. That's what happened. They created this fake story of demon worshiping from all these people that were like occultists, practicing nothing to do with the devil and stuff like that. Yes, these spirits exist. You can use them. You can work with them. But the people that were getting killed, all these people that were, you know, occultists that were doing what they're supposed to do, and so then later we have all these traditions of people like mimicking all these things. Okay, let's go and worship these things. We started with a conversation about ego and Satanism and the Church Satanic Bible. Ego and Satan itself. Satan being an entity on itself, but also.
Well, traditionally, it wasn't supposed to be just one entity. It was more of a title for a bunch of people.
Exactly.
Because it meant the enemy.
Well, this is the thing. Our ego as well as a collective. That is Satan. Satan is ruling this world. Ego rules this world collectively. And that's where part of us, I would say, we all have that what is Satan, that ego, and then we all have that which God, we are gods. But as ego, when we indulge in everything that ego wants, when, you know, all the pleasures that we can get, you know, whatever it is that you like, or the ego likes, basically, pleasure.
Yeah.
And that's Satanism. The worship of the ego. Ego is Satan.
One facet of Satanism.
In a collective, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say Satan. I mean, there's many people that are, I would say, because it's so powerful, it's like this point of saying that there's so many people that are under, just with saying that ego, it's Satan. We all have egos. Everybody, every one of us have our egos. Some are bigger than others. Some egos think that they're good, you know. Some egos think that they're spiritual. Some egos think that they are good Christians. You know, it's ego. That's how Satanism, how big Satanism is as a collective. And Satan, basically, Satan as a collective is ego in every one of us. Basically, that's why sometimes I say we are the Antichrist. All of us have the Antichrist, ego, Satan. That is the Antichrist that we all have, that we all deal with if we want to deal with it, or we just can let it just run and drive the truck, drive the car. You know, it's ego, and it's either we let the ego drive the car, or we drive the car. Who are we if we are no ego? We're God. But right now, as gods, because earlier we were saying about Satanism teaches you that you are your own God. But you are God. You always been God. The only thing that is taking away that power is your ego. Where your ego thinks that, when your ego thinks that is God, it's not when you think, you know that you are God.
It's definitely,
And that's when it goes, you know, it can go, because I've been there, you know, I let my ego be God, and I was doing everything I pleased, you know. So, because that was on my mind as a Satanist, before, I would never, not never, but I will not say that I found God. No, I'm God this whole time. But I'm not ego, because the ego.
well, the intention is to keep it at bay, not to entirely let it go, but definitely keep it under
the thing
a
about
leash. You know, keep it on a leash.
that's the beginning, to keep it on a leash. That's the beginning. Always is good, but I think keeping it on the leash is very important. It's like maybe a first step. I would say that it's a first step towards whatever else you want to do. Yes, you can keep it at bay if that's what you want, if you're happy with it, or you can get rid of it. Getting rid of it's really difficult, because even when you think you got rid of it,
It comes back.
it pops up like the phoenix from the ashes. So yeah.
That gift that keeps on giving. Fuck,
Yes.
man.
Vampire. This song is called Vampire Incubus. In dreams I pray your energy and your life force
And everything we've been having in the background tonight has been your music.
This is a good song. In your dreams you are mine.